Well, hello and welcome to this live on the YouTube channel of ThePrint. Today we'll be discussing a very important subject, and this is about the water crisis, especially in the southern part of India. Because one thing that we have seen, especially the states of Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Kerala, is that they're reeling the under the heat wave, one, but there is a severe water shortage and water crisis. Now, there have been various steps that have been taken by people, individually, by individuals who are living in their homes, or also by organizations and schools. We'll be discussing what the issue is, because the question that we are raising today is whether South India is completely dependent on the monsoons, or is this water crisis also a reason because of bad water management. Now, we request you to please send in your questions. We will try and answer it as much as we can. While we're also trying to understand from, you could also tell us what you are facing so that we could take this discussion further. Now, let me start with one of the worst affected states, and that is Tamil Nadu, because, and especially in Chennai, we've seen how reports have shown, and I have been speaking to people there too, that the water crisis is so severe that water comes into homes only once or twice a week, and also people are ordering water with the help of water tankers. We've seen how the nexus works. They are charging exorbitant prices, and they're also almost 5,000 rupees a tanker for a building sometimes. And also we've seen, because of the water shortage, not only certain hotels have shut down, schools have extended, the fact that they've reduced their timings of schools, they've also tried to see that children are not affected and they are stay at home. IT companies are ensuring people work out of homes so that they do not have to run on water. Now, we are getting a lot of your comments. Keep them coming. I will answer them one by one. But as I take this introduction, let me also quickly tell you, yes, we had one of our viewers who said in Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh is reeling. Telangana is also. We've seen how systematically governments are trying to put things in place. But I started with Tamil Nadu because that is in the news and in focus. The Madras High Court has pulled up the Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy and asked him why is there such a severe water crisis and what the government is doing. Though the Chief Minister has said that it is the media who's actually blowing out of proportion, but the ground reality is what the Madras High Court wanted to understand, and what they have given to understand by the environmentalists and other public interest litigators is that the water is badly managed. Now, Fernandita Joan Lewis says connecting rivers, you will not get any facilities unless the government puts something together. We have another viewer saying, what's your opinion if I say that KCR's 24-hour free power to powers is one of the cause of depletion of underground water? Well, let me take one is about connection of rivers. Well, that is one project that India has been trying to do with the connection of rivers. We've seen how it has taken place with the Narmada River, and how they have tried to also extend this to various other states. In Karnataka, where I am right now, we have seen that this is workable in certain districts where they have tried to divert and connect rivers. It has helped certain parts of North Karnataka during the peak of drought. Karnataka is also one part of it is reeling under drought, but not as severe as we see in Chennai and Tamil Nadu or in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In terms of the question raised, Mohammad Farhan says Telangana started regenerating local old lakes across the state, but are not how much they have achieved. That is an important point. Regenerating lakes, that is one place and one way how we can actually store water, because we are not looking at our water tables. Can it make me compulsory that each home and buildings implement rainwater harvesting, says Santosh Onni? Well, that is a part of the before any building plan is cleared by, and it has been made an absolute rule before it is done. But if people do not comply with it, the government should come down heavily. Chennai lakes are occupied by buildings, says Kevin Xavier. Absolutely right, and that is what I was coming to, because that is what most environmentalists and people who are water experts have been saying, that the groundwater has been depleted largely because of such kind of encroachments where buildings are made on water riverbeds, and rivers are not regenerated, the lakes are not being taken care of. If those are done, that itself will help in regenerating water and providing basic water and drinking water to homes around. That is the important point, because while we are talking about what storage we could have in our dams, while the rivers, while we are dependent on the monsoons, as individuals also we can look at how the water bodies can be used, regenerated, and used to store water. um, there are several people, like one of our viewers has just said, that there are private institutions who are trying to work with various water tables, rivers, and try to regenerate it. Vivek Sangwan says in Bangalore also rivers are dying. Yes, I'll come to the Bangalore's rivers, because yes, it is quite infamous. We've seen not only are they dying, but they're also catching fire, they froth, also catching fire, they froth. But we'll get to that. But the issue is of basic drinking water, basic potable water. So the issues that need to be addressed is, one is how the monsoon rains can be uh, used and stored for for further use, like times like these, where that is when we have our dams. And the government also should ensure, governments should be friendly enough to ensure that water is, in case there is an issue, then it can be shared. Mohammed Farhan says Hyderabad households mostly depend on groundwater, but there's just not enough space for water to sink in, and because of the concrete jungle, yes, that is an issue, and that is where I'm coming about encroachments, lake encroachments, where we see they're built on riverbeds, and also where the water can seep in and enter a water table and increase the water table. If we have concrete structures, they will not be able to go down. Now, we have seen how a lot of residents, they have these movements where they are trying to ensure people try and do it at an individual level. But on a bigger, if you look at the bigger picture of this, what we need to understand is that the monsoons and the water that comes through the monsoons, even if it's deficient, one needs to ensure that we could save it. Now, if we look at the, if we look at the way the water table has depleted, especially in Tamil Nadu. We have some numbers that are coming up, and I will be discussing that with you when I get the numbers coming up soon. Is that the water has depleted by nearly 2000 mld, which shows the fact that we are in a state where the water where the water needs not just to be saved at the dam level, but even at individual home levels. How do we solve this crisis? Well, there are multiple issues, multiple ways of looking at it. Number one, at an individual level, try and save water as much as we can, use it judiciously, and the fact that we are all used to using water as much as we want, we need to curtail that, because we know there is a monsoon delay. Secondly, is how the governments, or they need to work around trying to connect rivers, share water, and look beyond disputes. Let me bring out one point which we need to look at. That South India stands apart from other parts of the country is because almost every state in South India has a water dispute with another. Karnataka has with Tamil Nadu with the Kaveri issue. You have the Andhra Pradesh, you have the Krishna water dispute, you have the Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, Madai water issue. So everywhere the river water disputes also adds to this problem. I would also request that you would keep putting in your comments on our page as it comes, because I will try and read as much as I can. Usable water is being polluted. Why go for Israeli tech when there is no water? Look at the ways of preventing and enhance water. Let me tell you, let's not be negative. Let's try and see how technology can help us in trying to build storage, in trying to regenerate water, to bring clean potable water to homes. A lot of us, if we can afford it, we do buy water, but there are several farmers, there are several families who cannot afford it, and they are reeling under drought, they are reeling under this heat wave, they are reeling under this water crisis. We need to also find solutions for them, and that is when the governments need to step in and not make it a blame game, not make it a political issue, rather bring about an implementable scheme. And when we're talking about implementable schemes, there are examples that we have seen across the country, and these are innovative, uh, absolutely issues, the solutions that are found in India itself, with our own brains that have been put together, that you can store water, you can help our own people try and get as much as water saved as much as possible. As per the latest stats, the rainwater is 33 times. I'm missing that on that. I missed that question. I would like you to please repeat that. Let me quickly take out one of the data that has been coming in. The Tamil Nadu government, and I'm insisting on focusing on Tamil Nadu because it is one of the worst affected areas. I am not saying the other states are not affected, but like I said, this is what the government has just said a few hours ago, that that the Tamil Nadu government has taken steps to handle the crisis by allotting 212 crores for digging deep bore wells by the Public Works Department. Now, this I'm bringing up this issue because bore wells also are an issue that need to be addressed. The rampant digging of bore wells across places and bringing down the water table also is a way of exploitation, and this is especially done by the water tanker lobby. And that, let me quickly take this, we need to store 33 times water in the underground aquifers, yes, and these bore wells are the ones that actually because they are dug and the water depletes, and we find it difficult later to have the water in the water tables below. Plastic layers preventing water from sinking, especially in cities, yes, but a lot of us, a lot of people, and there are campaigners, a lot of us who individually need to take this step and are taking steps to go green, try to reduce the plastic issue, reduce the usage of plastic, so that we at least try and do not clog especially when it comes to our drains or our land, which, because we've seen landfills, they're filled with plastic bottles and other kind of non-reusable products, which we would rather prefer to use biodegradable, and that will also help in creating enough water storage. Now, let me come back to how the monsoons are affected. Now, the northeast monsoons will usually arrive in October and November, and the requirement for groundwater resources is where the problem lies. We've already seen a delayed in the southwest monsoons. Dilip Domble says the Marathwada region also has this problem. Yes, that is true. Across the states, Marathwada is facing severe. We've seen how the farmers there also are facing immense and tremendous hardship because of that. Jipin says the monsoons are really low in Kerala. Well, God's own country, where we have seen that there has been never an issue of water shortage, but the last few years, not only has Kerala faced floods, it has faced drought, something that even has shocked people, because the rising temperatures also, and the point that is to be raised again and again is the concrete jungles and the structures and the illegal structures built over areas where water needs to seep down to our ground, where water can be stored or can be regenerated later through our lakes, or which go into our lakes. That itself is not being allowed. Another problem that we face, especially in the coastal areas, is how water that is received from the monsoons is not usually stored, or rather it is let to flow into the sea again. Navneet Prabha says, can desalinization of seawater can be used? It can be used, and that is something that technology can help. There are countries, for example, like the Maldives, who completely survive on desalinated water, which is generated from the sea itself. There are patents within our country where they have where we can utilize this own technology, and this indigenous technologies can be utilized. We just need to put issues in order, and that is why we have these kind of conversations where we can generate ideas and can be taken forward. Mohammad Farhan says it is very costly. I'm not very sure what you are indicating is costly. If you're talking about desalinization of water, well, that is something that we need to invest on. Ranjani Sharma asks, is rainwater harvesting a good solution for Chennai? Of course it is. Rainwater harvesting is a good solution for Chennai. It's a good solution for every city. Mohammad Farhan, thank you for that clarification about desalinization. Yes, like I was saying, it's being better than penny wise pound foolish. It is better to invest solidly on on technology that will help us in the long run. Climate change is something that is not that we are going to see. Global warming is something that we are going to see, but we need to see that the next generation, our children also, are ensured that they do not go through the severities of at least man-made severities that is we see. We have Rohan Srinivasan who says, what are the alternatives available in the current scenario if the monsoons are a dud? Well, the alternatives that I'm no scientist, but I can only tell you what I have been hearing from the people who are water experts, who are rainwater harvesting experts, and who are scientists. There are multiple things, and one which keeps recurring throughout is regenerate your lakes. Ensure there are no encroachments. increase the water table, create what rainwater harvesting in every single building, in every single place that possibly in every single building, make it mandatory, and fine people if they do not follow it, and more importantly use water judiciously, because today when you're judicious, tomorrow it'll help. And mind you, this is not just about one state, this is about the situation where we're seeing across the country. Apart from that, what we've also been told by scientific experts is, in terms of water, circulate your water. Do not keep wasting water for the simple things of how you use it in your machines. Use that water with a cleanser. There are enough and more available in the markets. Recycle that water. Use it for your gardening. Use it to wash your cars. Don't these basic things, if they are utilized by every single person, that itself helps. Now I know about certain resident associations in, for example, in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana also, who say that even washing of cars should be once or twice a week. These kind of rules can actually help. Now, Tomar Boy says distributed water harvesting is a viable solution. There's so much rain, but all goes to the gutter with no thinking. Well, in a way, the water needs to be saved and needs to be stored. While we do that, we also need to ensure that we do not let the water go into the seas and let and such kind, and especially these the rainwater can be utilized for further, when we say for potable or for drinking water purposes. Rajni Sharma says Maharashtra doing a tremendous job through Pani Foundation motivating people. Why not Tamil Nadu? Well, that is where the exchange of ideas, exchange of technology, exchange of such kind of ideas, like I was saying, is important for people, so that they one state can learn from another. A situation like this, where let me take this thing, nearly 120 liters needed per person in a day according to the United Nations. Yes, but this is also, the United Nations also has said use water judiciously. Jibin says it's mandatory for all new builders to have RWH, and like I was saying, yes, under the even before a building plan is cleared, rainwater harvesting has become important. Dimitri says politicians are reluctant to take tough decisions because their tanker lobby helps them in legal funding in elections, and they want water to be scarce. Yes, there we have seen and we have found how there has been a nexus, especially of the water tanker lobby and the water lobby, and the worst wars in the world have been fought over water and food. And so it's very important for us as individuals to take steps, as organizations to take steps, but more importantly, it's also important for us to tell our elected representatives also, not just blame them for being a part of the nexus, rather elect such representatives who help in correcting the system. Now that we've just had elections, we have just seen the Lok Sabha elections. Some states, especially in southern India, also have seen assembly elections. It is important to make each of the elected representatives accountable and ensure that the promises that are made, especially like I was saying, you cannot promise that the rains would come, but you can definitely promise saying that in the next 5 years, certain X number of lakes can be taken care of. They will be not only brought back to life. There can be certain places, what you call kalyanis in Karnataka. Kalyanis are basically water tanks where they store water for a good day. Those can be also generated. There are, let me also refer to something called Rajakaluves, or these are the stormwater drains that we see across in various states. These also help in bringing back and increasing the water table. That should be what we should allow to do. And if you remember, just a few years ago, there was a major demolition drive in Karnataka where homes and buildings that were built over Rajakaluves or these stormwater drains were demolished. Now, this took place after Bangalore was almost sinking because the water could not seep through the ground because of the construction on the ground, and it led to severe flooding across the city. A lesson was learned, because after the next few rains, Bangalore was much better in the way the water, especially the floods, were handled. Now the other way around, now with the monsoons coming in, this very Rajkaluves, the very stormwater drains help in releasing the water back to the ground and to re-energize the water table. And so this is why it is important that we ensure that whenever we go or any of these plans that we see that people do not have plans which are over illegal, then we need to raise our voice. No adequate rainfall in Andhra Pradesh, especially in the Polavaram project. Yes, we've seen that, especially in Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh has been in a very difficult situation. The Polavaram project has been a matter of dispute, but again, the cycle in terms of how we need to ensure that adequately the government also works in bringing about energy and also using hydro energy while they're also saving water. Now, let me also tell you, while we're talking about Andhra Pradesh, it has been said that the Krishna water, especially from the Kandaleru Dam, that has not been realized to its full capacity because of the monsoon shortage, and because of that, there has been a ripple effect where Telangana also has been suffering, Tamil Nadu suffers, and Karnataka as well. Pardon me. While there are being steps being taken, which I'm seeing through various comments made by the water secretaries, or rather the ministers, as well as principal secretaries who handle the revenue as well as irrigation, saying that there are severe and drought and deficient monsoons. There has been a depletion in groundwater levels, but drinking water is being supplied not just through tankers, but they are ensured that people at least get at least their supply on a regular basis. While efforts are being made, we will also need to see how individually people also are suffering. Now, if we've been seeing how people queuing up in front of water tankers, in front of with plastic pots, standing in line, they're ensuring, trying to even save water and take back home. We If you want to the ground situation, if you see, there are certain ways in which you can work, like for example, like the IT companies in Chennai have said that you can work out of home so that they do not use water, there's no wastage of water. And there are schools in Andhra Pradesh that have shut down almost half day. One is because of the heat, and secondly also running organizations will also add to the problem. We're not saying that this is a solution, but this is the gravity of the situation, and there need to be steps that need to be taken. We still ask you to continue with your questions. We will try and your comments as much as you can. We will try and answer as much as is possible. But like you said rightly, that rainwater harvesting and especially desalination of water, both at the individual level, at the organizational level, and CSRs by different companies, and most importantly, accountability by the government to ensure that they try and save as much as monsoon and groundwater as possible, and do not haphazardly allow illegal buildings to come, is one of the few solutions. This is repeated time and again, but until it is effective, we need to go about it. I'll take one ad, because that is something we may in urban areas try to find solutions, but in the rural areas, it is the farmers who actually suffer. Yes. At that time, it is here that channelizing water through linking of rivers. Also, we've seen that in the severe drought crisis, there were trains that were transporting water from one state to another if there is where there is water, sufficient water. That is also one solution that could be seen, because basic drinking water survival is important. We cannot afford to have people who possibly lose their lives because of water. But at the rural level also,